Book of Psalms. Chapter 76. In Judah Elohim is known, his name is great in Yashar'al. In Salem also is his tabernacle and his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the arrows of the bow, the shield and sword of battle. Selah. You do wonderfully shine forth from the everlasting mountains. All the simple ones in heart were troubled. All the men of wealth have slept their sleep, and have found nothing in their hands. At your rebuke, O Al of Jacob, both the chariot and horse were cast into a dead sleep. You, yourself, are to be feared, and who may stand in your presence when once you are angry? You caused judgment to be heard from heaven. The earth feared, and was still. When Elohim arose to judgment to deliver all the oppressed of the earth. Selah. For the inward thought of man shall give thanks to you, and the memorial of his inward thought shall keep a feast to you. Make vows to YAHUAH your Elohim and pay them. Let all who are around him bring presents to him who ought to be feared. He shall cut off the spirit of princes. He is awesome to the kings of the earth. Chapter 77. I cried out to Elohim with my voice. Unto Elohim with my voice, and he gave ear to me. In the day of my trouble I sought the sovereign. My hand was stretched out in the night without ceasing. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered Elohim, and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah. You hold my eyelids open. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I meditate within my heart, and my spirit makes diligent search. Will the sovereign cast off forever? And will he be favorable no more? Has his mercy ceased forever? Has his promise failed forevermore? Has Al forgotten to pity? Has he in anger shut up his tender mercies? Selah. And I said, this is my anguish. But I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of Yah. Surely, I will remember your wonders of old. I will also meditate on all your work and talk of your deeds. Your way, O Elohim, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a Al as our Elohim? You are the Al who does wonders. You have declared your strength among the people. You have with your arm redeemed your people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Selah. The waters saw you, O Elohim, the waters saw you, they were afraid. The depths also trembled. The clouds poured out water. The sky sent out a sound. Your arrows also flashed about. The voice of your thunder was in the whirlwind. The lightnings lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your way was in the sea, or path in the great waters, and your footsteps were not known. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Chapter 78. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, telling to the generation to come the praises of YAHUAH and his strength, and his wonderful works that he has done. For he established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Yashar'al, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them. The children who would be born, that they may arise and declare them to their children, that they may set their hope in Elohim, and not forget the works of Al, but guard his commandments, and may not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that did not set its heart aright, and whose spirit was not faithful to Al. The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. They did not guard the covenant of Elohim. They refused to walk in his law, and forgot his works, and his wonders that he had shown them. Marvelous things he did in the sight of their fathers. In the land of Egypt, in the field of Zon. He divided the sea, and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters stand up like a heap. In the daytime also he led them with the cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. He split the rocks in the wilderness, and gave them drink in abundance like the depths. He also brought streams out of the rock, and caused waters to run down like rivers. But they sinned even more against him by rebelling against the Most High in the wilderness. And they tested Al in their heart by asking for the food of their fancy. Yes, they spoke against Elohim. They said, "Can Al prepare a table in the wilderness? Behold, he struck the rock, so that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide meat for his people?" Therefore YAHUAH heard this, and was furious. So a fire was kindled against Jacob. And anger also came up against Yashar'al, because they did not believe in Elohim, and did not trust in his salvation. Yet he had commanded the clouds above, and opened the doors of heaven, and had rained down manna on them to eat, and given them of the bread of heaven. Men did eat Malachim food. He sent them food to the full. He caused an east wind to blow in the heavens, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He also rained meat on them like the dust, feathered fowl like the sand of the seas. And he let them fall in the midst of their camp, all around their dwellings. So they ate and were well filled. For he gave them their own desire. They were not deprived of their craving. But while their food was still in their mouths, the wrath of Elohim came against them, and slew the fattest of them, and struck down the choice men of Yashar'al. In spite of this they still sinned, and did not believe in his wondrous works. Therefore their days he consumed in emptiness, and their years in fear. When he slew them, then they sought him, and they returned and sought earnestly for Al. Then they remembered that Elohim was their rock, and the Most High Al their Redeemer. Nevertheless they flattered him with their mouth, and they lied to him with their tongue. For their heart was not steadfast with him, nor were they faithful in his covenant. But he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity, and did not destroy them. Yes, many a time he turned his anger away, and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a breath that passes away and does not come again. How often they provoked him in the wilderness, and grieved him in the desert. Yes, again and again they tempted Al, and limited the set-apart one of Yashar'al. They did not remember his power, the day when he redeemed them from the enemy, when he worked his signs in Egypt, and his wonders in the field of Zon, and had turned their rivers into blood, and their streams that they could not drink. He sent swarms of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. He also gave their crops to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He also gave up their cattle to the hail, and their flocks to fiery lightning. He cast on them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, indignation, and trouble, by sending Malachim of destruction among them. He made a path for his anger. He did not spare their soul from death, but gave their life over to the plague, and destroyed all the firstborn in Egypt, the first of their strength in the tents of Ham. But he made his own people go forth like sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them on safely, so that they did not fear. But the sea overwhelmed their enemies, and he brought them to his set-apart border, this mountain which his right hand had purchased. He also drove out the nations before them, and divided them an inheritance by survey, and made the tribes of Yashar'al dwell in their tents. Yet they tested, and provoked the Most High Al, and did not guard his testimonies, but turned back, and acted unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow. For they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their carved images. When Elohim heard this, he was furious, and greatly abhorred Yashar'al, so that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent he had placed among men, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his beauty into the enemy's hand. He also gave his people over to the sword, and was furious with his inheritance. The fire consumed their young men, and their maidens were not given in marriage. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. Then the sovereign awoke, as from sleep, like a mighty man who shouts, because of wine. And he beat back his enemies, he put them to a perpetual reproach. Moreover, he rejected the tent of Joseph, and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. And he built his sanctuary like the heights, like the earth which he has established forever. He also chose David his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. From following the ewes that had young he brought him, to shepherd Jacob his people, and Yashar'al his inheritance. So he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart, and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. Chapter 79. O Elohim, the nations have come into your inheritance. Your set-apart temple they have defiled. They have laid Jerusalem in heaps. The dead bodies of your servants they have given as food for the birds of the heavens. The flesh of your saints to the beasts of the earth. Their blood they have shed like water all around Jerusalem, and there was no one to bury them. We have become a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and derision to those who are around us. How long, O YAHUAH? Will you be angry forever? Will your jealousy burn like fire? Pour out your wrath on the nations that do not know you, and on the kingdoms that do not call on your name. For they have devoured Jacob, and laid waste his dwelling place. Oh, do not remember former iniquities against us. Let your tender mercies come speedily to meet us, for we have been brought very low. Help us, O Al of our salvation, for the honor of your name, and deliver us, and provide atonement for our sins for your name's sake. Why should the nations say, where is their Elohim? Let there be known among the nations in our sight the avenging of the blood of your servants, which has been shed. Let the groaning of the prisoner come before you. According to the greatness of your power preserve those who are appointed to die. And return to our neighbors sevenfold into their bosom their reproach with which they have reproached you, O Sovereign. So we, your people, and sheep of your pasture, will give you thanks forever. We will show forth your praise to all generations. Chapter 80. Give ear, O shepherd of Yashar'al, you who lead Joseph like a flock. You who dwell between the cherubim, shine forth. Before Ephraim, Benjamin and Manasseh, stir up your strength, and come and save us. Restore us, O Elohim, cause your face to shine, and we shall be saved. O YAHUAH, Elohim of hosts, how long will you be angry against the prayer of your people? You have fed them with the bread of tears, and given them tares to drink in great measure. You have made us a strife to our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves. Restore us, O Elohim of hosts, cause your face to shine, and we shall be saved. You have brought a vine out of Egypt. You have cast out the nations and planted it. You prepared room for it, and caused it to take deep root, and it filled the land. The hills were covered with its shadow, and the mighty cedars with its boughs. She sent out her boughs to the sea, and her branches to the river. Why have you broken down her hedges, so that all who pass by the way pluck her fruit? The boar out of the woods uproots it, and the wild beast of the field devours it. Return, we beseech you, O Elohim of hosts, look down from heaven and see, and visit this vine, and the vineyard which your right hand has planted, and the branch that you made strong for yourself. It is burned with fire, it is cut down. They perish at the rebuke of your countenance. Let your hand be upon the man of your right hand, upon the Son of Man whom you made strong for yourself. Then we will not turn back from you. Revive us, and we will call upon your name. Restore us, O YAHUAH, Elohim of hosts, cause your face to shine, and we shall be saved.